Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment simply ensures that partisan poll watchers do not infringe on a voter's right to cast a secret ballot. The bill infringes upon that right by allowing poll watchers to, quote, move freely at polling locations. And my amendment strikes lines 6 through 8 on page 13 to remove the provision allowing poll watchers to move freely. My view is that poll watchers should be able to move in those designated areas that have been cordoned off or marked by the election judge. This bill proposes to create a standard where poll watchers this bill proposes to create a standard where a poll watcher is permitted to harass and follow voters without any legal recourse to protect the safety and privacy of others. In fact, the boundaries are vaguely defined and therefore remove enforcement authority at the polling place. And as lawmakers, it's our job to pass legislation that protects the voter's right to a secret ballot. It has been our concern all along that the secret ballot provisions would be at odds with the poll watchers' free movement. In fact, there was a member on the House floor under questioning that suggested that a family member had been removed from a polling location without disclosing, since I have since talked to an election judge that was involved in that, without disclosing that the Secretary of State's office actually observed this person's family member violating their oath, having their phone on when they were not supposed to be on, planning on ways to obstruct the voting process. And that's why they were removed. But of course, they didn't mention that earlier when they were trying to use that anecdote to justify the need for audits. And so I worry that we saw poll watchers not only fuel misinformation and distrust. These, of course, members are partisans appointed by parties and campaigns. And if you think about 50 campaigns that may be able to appoint persons at a polling location, you see a polling location that is full of partisans who now, under this bill, are able to freely move throughout without the ability of an election judge to deal with that. And so granting these poll watchers who serve these partisan aims and interests disproportionate power over our elections and allowing them to move freely as voters cast their secret ballot encourages aggressive partisanship. And so the provision in question will intimidate election officials into allowing poll watchers to roam around. And in talking to an election judge, poll watchers in Dallas County that were the subject of a discussion earlier, they were not only turning on their phones in and around voting locations, not only getting close to voters without masks, especially in times of a pandemic, they were planning on how to disrupt the election. They were also lying about their ability to get closer to voters because they had poor eyesight and needed their glasses and had forgotten their glasses at home, thereby providing pretext to try to observe the vote of others. And that's what we're dealing with, members. These partisans, and we saw this in Dallas County, where election administrators received complaints of these poll watchers looking over voters' shoulders as they cast their ballot and questioning voters when they came in on their politics. Are you a Democrat or are you a Republican? Telling the election judge, oh, I can't see because I left my glasses at home, I need to get closer. Giving them this free rein at a polling location is very dangerous. In Harris County, the Harris County attorney received multiple complaints and even requested a monitor from the U.S. Department of Justice to observe the voting process because poll watchers in black neighborhoods in Acres Homes in Northeast Houston were hovering around voters, getting in election workers' faces, blocking or disrupting lines of voters waiting to cast their ballots. And I hope all the members in this body can agree that this is reckless behavior. I also offer it so this legislature does not inadvertently foster unsafe conditions for voters of all parties, be they Republicans or Democrats, and allows them to safely and securely cast their secret ballot. If it is truly the intent, one of the precepts of this bill, to protect the secrecy of this ballot, then we must restrict the movement of poll workers so they do not try to harass or intimidate voters, as we have seen over and over again in this state.